we need to talk.
Today we're going to talk about something that has been on my mind and something I believe is very important to speak about in the society. And you may quote me if you want, but I believe that this is something that we're going to see in the future, a topic that I might come back to in the future, something that's going to keep catching up to us and that we're going to have to be very careful of, especially when we have a lot of teens and children growing up on the internet. And that is spiritual psychosis and the dangers of mainstream spirituality. The reason that I feel it's very important for me to talk about this is because I literally talk about spirituality. If you're on this channel, you probably are interested in spirituality in some kind of way. But the way that I would describe and conceptualize being spiritual or being on a spiritual path is that you as a person are willing to work on yourself. You're trying to grow your confidence, find the path you want in life, follow your dreams, and you're trying to be a better person. You're trying to learn, you're trying to get emotionally mature, stay away from toxic things. Basically, you are on a journey to become the best version of yourself, or you want to be more confident, you want to step out of your fears, get less anxious, be happy. Basically, we're all trying to be happy, are we not? And so you might not necessarily be religious, or maybe you are religious in some sense. Maybe you're not really too much into all that spiritual woo-woo stuff because it seems kind of weird and you've seen people go crazy. So you're like, let me just stay away from it. Or, there's so many different beliefs about spirituality and the way that it's conceptualized and talked about that we all just trying to find a way to find the best path for ourselves without falling into a very deep rabbit hole where we are mentally losing ourselves, losing complete touch with reality, and where we're basically delusional or get mentally lost. And that happens a lot. It's very hard. It's very hard today to be on the internet without seeing people boosting your ego or trying to be delusional or just trying to sell themselves these kind of stories. Everything we do today is telling ourselves new stories and the way that we can follow and make decisions, take actions in a way that we think are beneficial to us. But there's such a fine line with everything, and there's such a big duality in this reality, which it's very important that we learn to navigate. To better explain how spiritual psychosis comes to being, I want to give a little anecdote about my life, about my spiritual path. But if you want to have a more theoretical, if you want to have more definitions, if you really haven't heard about the spiritual psychosis and anything that's going on the internet, I definitely suggest checking out Madison Brown's video about spiritual psychosis and the metaphysical obsession. I absolutely loved this video. It was very informational. So I really like the way she approaches it. If you really haven't had any idea what this topic is coming from, I would really suggest you checking out that video. When you come into the spiritual awakening, right? It can be, first of all, very drug-induced. To me, it was a drug-induced experience, which you are just entering in a whole new level of reality, seeing things that you had never seen before, understanding the world from a whole other perspective. And what I realized is that for most people, this takes place when they're 19 and 20. I don't know, this must be something with that age in our life where we are finally getting out of high school and we are opened up to new realities. We are stuck in the same way of thinking, the same environment for maybe 6 years or longer. And once you graduate, it's okay, you're free, you're new in adulthood, so you're gonna make new decisions for yourself. And this perspective can be so mind-opening. To me, it really was. And that was really something that feels so high when you get to understand that there's more to this reality than just what we see, and that we can control ourselves and our lives, that we can control our outer world by changing our inner world, right? So this can be like such a high moment where we just feel on top of the world. We think we discovered something so new that nobody else understands, and it feels pretty cool and it's very magical, to be very honest. But it is very exciting. It's like a place where you want to share everything that you've seen with everyone because it feels so good. It's so magical. It feels like a literal meeting with God. Basically, some people realize that they are God or that they have God within them. But when people share media like that, when people share their experiences, which really isn't bad, I don't really think that it's with negative intentions, but I do see that when we are sharing those moments which are very sacred or which are riding on a high of some experiences that we have, so it's more like an emotional reaction. Even the content we make is based on an emotional experience reaction and not really based on some grounded balanced place that we're in. It's very easy to influence people that maybe are in a very low place, that also are looking for solutions, that are lost, and that are looking for some motivation, someone to push them, something to believe in. When we share TikToks, videos, content like that on ourselves in a high, we are attracting people that are very low and that can get addicted to, or that need some kind of hold on, some kind of hope from outside. And that is where it gets very dangerous for me. When we share also these moments, it's like spirituality is seen as an aesthetic, is seen as a destination we can get to. If you wear these type of dresses, if you take these kind of drugs, if you live this kind of lifestyle, it means that you're spiritual. But spirituality is more than just an aesthetic. It's more than just a way of looking. It's more than just a way of talking and seeing the world. We are all, in my opinion, spiritual beings. Whether you identify as one, whether you meditate, whether you believe in a God, whether you take drugs or not, whether you have dreadlocks or not, whether you watch spiritual videos or not, I believe in my definition of spirituality that we're all spiritual beings, and it's going to express itself in so many different ways. But the way that we see spirituality, the hashtag spirituality, the way that it's portrayed on the internet makes it really seem that if you don't wear crystals, so many jewels, long skirts, have dreadlocks, if you're not singing about, oh, life is beautiful, happy, peace, healing, and I'm an alien, and I believe in the universe, and I can manifest everything, and if you don't talk that way, it's easy for the outside world to think that if you are not like that, you are not spiritual. So it's kind of like a misrepresentation of what the true essence of spirituality is, because it's a lifestyle, it's a way of being, and it's a journey, and it's a very personal journey. It's not something that someone can tell you how to do, or it's not something that is like able to be represented in the media as one form. It's like any type of culture, everything is so individual. There's something also very important, and I've been very aware of that. So I have made this channel, and I started this channel talking about uplifting, talking about self-development, and giving people and myself like positive affirmations and hope for the future when going through hard times, is because usually when you go through this time where you get so connected to something spiritual, something not in the real world, is because a lot of the time people that get through that spiritual awakening are just going through a very hard and dark time in their life. So we have to look for something outside of our reality to hold on to find hope in. That's also a lot of time the same with like religion and just things that we gotta look for a light in dark times. So this means that a lot of the people that get into spirituality and get interested, get intrigued, are maybe looking for something to hold on to and to move forward and to not give up. So this is often a very vulnerable place to be in. I remember when I started this channel, and I talked about this in one of my first videos. You can still look back, they're still on my channel. I literally say that I'm going through a hard time and I have to make this content for myself to keep going. It was like something that I had to do because I was just so low, and like these positive videos, these affirmations and spirituality was the only thing that I could hold on to, and also an online community that I could relate to at the time, which was very helpful, and I'm very grateful for that. So I'm never going to demonize that or make it as something very bad, because it can be very helpful, but when it's balanced in the right way. Because at some point, and this is for me also part of the spiritual journey, but if life is a spiritual journey, then this is important for life in general and applicable for maturing, for growing up, is that we are always going to be faced with a duality in life. If you stay fixed in a certain perspective, in a certain way of thinking, at some point you're going to be detrimental to yourself. It's going to destroy maybe you or the relationships around you. We are change is at the basis of our being. It's at the basis, it's one of the most basic universal law, is that everything is in constant flow and changing, and nothing stays the same forever. So if you stay stuck in a certain way of thinking, or in this high horse where you can only focus yourself on the spiritual aspect of life, at some point you are being detrimental to yourself if you're not learning to come back to reality and also learning to work with the real world. It's very beautiful to get to know yourself, to get to know your inner world and your powers, and to see beyond what we are taught or beyond what we see on a general basis. But if you stay stuck in that place, you are losing yourself. You are losing yourself, and you're going to be in a place where you're no longer able to function in society. And that is just not something that is good either for you or the people around you. Like, it's okay to stay isolated for a while because you're going through some internal changes, but it's supposed to prepare you to go into the world again, but in a way where you better know yourself and where you get more grounded in your own confidence. This is where I talk about the ego death a lot. When I was introduced to spirituality, it's like you get on a very high of understanding that you're so abundant, that everything is possible, that your dreams are possible, and you're able to take your life in control, and you can change your internal reality, your external reality, by changing your internal reality. But at some point, you will have to face real life again and practice whatever you learn without, because everything can stay in our mind, but there is still real life. And the real spiritual journey is bringing whatever you understand, whatever you learn mentally, into the real world. We cannot forever escape real life. And also, the danger of this spirituality is that a lot of people just tend to feel better than others for knowing God, or for seeing like higher dimensions, or whatever you want to call it, being psychic, or, thinking that they know the future. It's very important to be able to remember that we do not know everything, and stay open for change, and stay open to have new perspectives, and constantly remembering that even though we might feel like we have this creator inside of us, that we have endless possibility, we are still not in control, and we still have to learn to humble ourselves over time. That on a side quest. We have to be cautious with sharing our highs on the internet, or sharing our very the moments where we're like in ecstasy and like really on the top of the world and like claiming that we have found all the answers to life, and that if people act or believe the same things that we do, they will also reach this point of life where they're just so high and everything is perfect and they're just love and light and life will always go the way they want to, is that the people that you are attracting, and especially on TikTok. I'm personally not on TikTok. I'm on YouTube though, but I'm not on TikTok. And I also don't post on TikTok. And that was a very conscious decision because there is so much more to the content, to the context of these videos. There's so much more that meets the eye. Everything I talk to you about is very balanced with life experience, a lot of scientific work. I need you to understand that I study a lot, I read a lot, I understand a lot about the scientific world. So I have to also understand our human psychology. Understanding that our psychology also has an impact on our understanding of the world, and that we are also always like addicted to things. So if you are posting this content online, you are going to reach people that are very vulnerable and that are looking for something to hold on to, and they will become addicted to the content. They will become addicted to someone else giving them signs, someone else giving them answers. When for me, the most important thing to in life grow, to in life become more confident, and to be able to chase your dreams is that we have to grow our own intuition. If people don't disclaim that whatever I'm saying, I am biased and everything that I am telling you is because my mind operates in a certain way of thinking and I already have certain experiences that make me think this way, but it's not because I think the way I do that it will always apply to you. And at some point we might agree, but at some point our perspectives might also change. And that's very beautiful. We have to learn to follow our own voice, our own inner guidance. Otherwise, this is all just going to turn back and like make you even feel more insecure than you have before. What bothers me the most is that there is no critical thinking and there is no like awareness of who this content might be attaining. Like there's a lot of young people on the internet and we are all seeking for some kind of answers, you know. But at the end of the day, this journey is really about following your own heart, following your own intuition and looking what resonates for you. And that's also what I always want to like promote on this channel, is that yes, I have a certain way of thinking and some things might apply, but at the end of the day, we are not supposed to be addicted to this content online to feel like we are on the right path, to feel like we are spiritual, to feel like people are giving answers to us. I think this is all about strengthening our inner voice and learning to stand on our own 2 feet at the end of the day. So if you are into spiritual content, which is absolutely okay, but it's very important to stay critical. It's very important to sometimes dissociate from what people are saying and really ask yourself the question like, is this really truth? Or is this a reflection of my inner world? And that's a very interesting question that I really had to keep asking myself. Because yes, when you get in the spiritual awakening, whatever you may call it, you can get introduced to the idea that all you feel and all your feelings are the truth. But in the real world, that is not the case. We have to learn emotional maturity. We have to learn to control our emotions or not let our emotions control us. And we also have to accept that we are wrong most of the time. We can feel certain things and we have to learn to trust that our emotions are a truth to us. They tell us certain things about how we feel. But that doesn't mean that our emotions are everyone's truth. It's not because I feel weird about someone that that person is necessarily weird or a bad person or that they have bad intentions. And if we cling on to this idea that we're on top of the world and we are always right and we are connected to God, so whatever we feel is the truth, honey dear, that's gonna be so dangerous and you're gonna end up to be self-inflicting. It's like self-fulfilling prophecy where we're gonna start believing that everyone else is the problem, and this is not allowing us to grow as a person. This is not allowing us to also reflect upon our behavior, because at the end of the day, being spiritual, at the end of the day, growing as a person takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of ego death. Like, it takes a lot of accountability, and it takes understanding that a lot of the time we are the problem. A lot of the time our emotions have been controlling us and our way of thinking has been in the way, but it's something that we can change, yes. But we have to be realistic about it. I really want to also say that God plays a very important role in this all. If you want to be a good person, or if you want to avoid the trap of just feeling better or being on this high horse, I would really suggest to have a relationship with God and follow your own heart and not put some people or some way of thinking on a pedestal, because that will keep you stuck in a certain position in life. Yes, we can take action and procreate. Yes, we can change if we want to. We can take the steps that we need to move forward. But at the end of the day, we're not better than anyone else. We're not better than anyone else because we know certain things or we feel certain feelings or we understand the world in a certain way. And if we are not able to stay humble, and if we are not able to come to people in a loving and empathic way, and also forgive other people and just take people for who they are as they are, darling, you might think that you're better, but it just makes you as bad as someone that is a narcissist. And it's usually on the same spectrum, but just from a whole different perspective. Okay, I really needed to get that off my chest. I feel like I might probably make another video about this, more structured, more thought through, but this was really something that I wanted to rant about. So this was a rant, but I hope it made some kind of sense. I'm definitely going to come back to this because I just feel like today we're not conscious about the way we say things and how our media intake affects our mental brain, and how we are so addicted to the media. And it's all like, it's so much more deeper than this. And I'm studying communication, so to me our relationship to technology has such a big influence on who we are and our psychology today, and that's very interesting. So I'm definitely certain that we're going to see more of this in the future, but I really need you to be mindful of what you see on the internet. And remember that we're all just human beings and everyone is going through their own thing. And even though some people pretend and sound like they have the truth, it never really is. So I really need you, well, you can do whatever you want. I need you to be critical of me too, and like always make up your own mind and never take what anyone says as just the whole truth. I'm going to leave it at that because we're at 30 minutes. This is a long ass rant. I did not know I was able to do that. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked that video. There's more where this came from, so follow if you feel like it. And I'll see you in the next one.